So today I want to talk a little bit about Cory Booker and symbolism. So here's the deal. I've seen people on different sides of the Cory Booker filibuster. And some people are saying he's a hero, and some people are saying, well, what's that going to do? So today I'm not gonna debate whether he's a hero, nor am I going to debate whether that does something, whether it's effective or not. But what I'm going to talk about is symbolism. Symbolism is what America's all about, and so is performance. So some people, their criticism of Cory Booker was that what he did was performative in the face of all the things that are going on in the world. But what we miss out, especially when it comes to America, is America has always been a performative nation. Everything that we do is for show. And then we hope that through the show, something happens, some kind of action, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the halls of Congress, whatever it is, people perform to try to get some emotion from people so that those people can take certain actions. So let's just be honest about that all the way. Even when people combat people for being performative, they're being performative, combating people for being performative, because that's how we roll. So if we can be honest about that, we can move on. Now I want to talk a little bit about this black skin. So here's the deal with black skin. To have black skin is to be a symbol. Often with symbols, people make up bigger stories behind that image. Like if you see American flag, you don't go, oh, look at that piece of fabric with some stripes and some stars on it. You know that that is indicative of something larger. It's indicative of a nation. It's a symbol. And when you have skin like this, it's a symbol. People see your skin and then they have a whole story that goes on the other end of that. And it could be a positive story if you are appreciating being in this skin. And it could be a negative story, whether you're in the skin and you're ashamed of it because of the systems that have been placed upon us, whether you come from some other group. But suffice it to say, generally speaking, having black skin in America means that your very being is symbolic. And it is basically up to the person who you are encountering what that symbol of your skin means. So, given that, I want to say that what Cory Booker did was symbolic. And there's a lot of power in symbolism. Now, the way we're looking at our Congress right now, which looks like it doesn't do much, I'm trying not to cuss, basically, but he was using the tools that were at his disposal to be up there for 25 hours and 4 minutes. And some people may say, hey, that didn't do anything because these people are still dying. These things are still at risk. Our system is still falling apart before our very eyes. But I do want to point you to the symbolism, because the last person who was up there almost as long was Strom Thurmond, a segregationist who was up there for 24 hours and 18 minutes. And he was opposing the Civil Rights Act. So you have this person who was trying to oppose progress, who stood there in his different kind of skin, opposing. And I'm going to read to you what Strom Thurmond said when he was in his sitting up there filibustering. So he says, I'm going to use a country accent. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, in our swimming pools, in our homes, and in our churches. Okay? So that's Strom Thurmond, right? Now, here's something you might not know. Something that I was thinking was going to pop up when people were saying that Cory Booker beat Strom Thurmond's record. Well, Strom Thurmond had a black daughter. A lot of people don't realize that the whole time this dude's fighting segregation or the ending of segregation, he meanwhile has a black daughter that he had with a 16-year-old maid that lived in his house. So he was 22. So what do you got to say about that? That's one thing about power dynamics. Another thing, I mean, it's basically statutory rape. So this dude has this relationship, or whatever you want to call it, with this woman, brings his daughter into the world, fights for segregation like a champion. Meanwhile, he's also financially supporting this black daughter and sends her to a HBCU. You can't make this crap up. But this is also symbolic, because it shows that a lot of times people will get out there, open their face, and say all kinds of crap just for power, things that they don't believe in for symbolism, because they know that these symbols are indicative of something in some people and it will get them to react in a certain way. So if we're not mindful of the power of symbolism, then we are fools, because all day long they're going to be using symbols to get us stirred up. But if we're mindful of how symbols work, and we're able to do some in our own spaces, what Cory Booker did was he came and he broke this record, which the record was a symbol for people who stood with Strom Thurmond, even though he was a major super hypocrite. Now he broke that record. Now this starts another conversation, a conversation about the type of people who Strom Thurmond would represent, who are now trying to take things over again. Now, I would say if I were you, like I'm doing right now, I would have more conversation about the symbolism behind this. I would say, hey, he just broke the record of a statutory rapist who had a daughter with a black maid who was 16 years old. And what does that say about the minds of people like this? That's what we could be talking about, just getting people to have these conversations. So even if some things don't change, the conversations can change if we understand the power behind those conversations. Now, before I get off of this thing, I'm going to throw out a couple of things that I have preached about when I was a pastor, and I'm going to share with y'all now, and we should know about these things. Is mimetic theory by Rene Girard, which I brought up before, who he talks about people don't want or don't know what they want. They just want what other people have. And when you understand that people mimic other people's desires, then you can see how you get manipulated. If you catch yourself wanting something that somebody else has, then you are manipulable. And people know this. The other kind of also pronounced mimetic theory from Richard Dawkins is about memes, which is about how ideas spread. And if you understand how ideas spread as well, you take mimetics from Rene Girard and mimetics from Richard Dawkins, you put those together and you've got a powerhouse like Fox News manipulating people like crazy. But if we don't understand that this is happening, these things aren't activated in us, that we subscribe to these things unconsciously, we end up inadvertently becoming a part of the problem, even in our opposition, because we don't know the game that is being played. So Cory Booker knows the game that's being played, at least to some degree. And he got up there and he played it and he beat the record of a segregationist who is indicative and symbolic of what is trying to reemerge in our society. And it was a black dude that did it. So he broke their record, he messed with their symbols, and now there's opportunities to have conversations about a lot of things that are swept under the rug. A lot of things that plenty of people who Cory Booker is opposing probably have equal skeletons in their closets, all sorts of things. So I'm just going to put it out there. Have these kinds of conversations, understand how symbolism works in your life. Pay attention that if you want something just because somebody else has it means you're manipulatable, and understand how ideas spread and spread some good ideas. That's all I got for today. I don't usually do these videos unless I just can't wait and I can't type fast enough. So here we go. Thanks for being up here.